All right. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Bear with me. We're having technical difficulties here. And now my lights want to trip out. Oh man, this has been a great start. What the fuck? All right. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Bear with me. We're having technical difficulties here. All right, I think this might be working now, because... And now my lights want to trip out. I've got my phone here, hold on. Oh man, this has been a great start. What the fuck? Should probably put like a timestamp on this. Can you guys hear me? Really? Bear with me. We're having technical difficulties here. Alright. Just stop. Okay. Let's see if we can figure this out. And super apologize for the technical difficulties right out of the gate. This is not what I wanted to do or see, but let me see if this makes any difference whatsoever. If this doesn't work, I might just record something and then come back to it. So bear with me here for a second. Yeah, if you can't tell, it's something I'm trying, Rumble Studio, which apparently you can go live with, and clearly this is not working the way I wanted it to, but hey, you never know. So I can see myself in the corner. I'm waiting to see on my phone to make sure that this is actually working properly here. And I keep getting a fucking lights that don't work, but I hope you don't have photosensitivity, because the shit that I have in my room is just not working. Cool. Okay, it is working. All right. Something and then come back to it. So bear with me here for a second. If you're hearing double, it's I'm just making sure that this is actually working on Rumble, but also apparently you can mutually stream through YouTube. See if that shit's working. I'm old. This is all new to me. But at the same time, this is good practice, because hopefully this will be more of a future thingamabob stuff that we do on this channel, because number one, it is a hell of a lot easier to do reviews this way, so that way I don't have to spend a week editing the reviews, and then of course takes me forever to get out, because Spot of Nerd, would love to go over a double feature with you guys, a double review. 2 movies came out this week. If you're not familiar, was F1, and you had Megan 2.0. Now, again, I just want to triple check one more time before I actually get into the meat and beans, or whatever that verbiage is. Something I'm trying, Rumble Studio. Okay, apparently I can see it's working. So, if it's not working, if you can't hear me, this is going to be a video that is just going to be very terrible and horrible, which it probably already is. So, crack open the good old Dr. Pepper, because Dr. Pepper is life. I think, at least my biggest, I'm not even shitting you people, the greatest role model I've ever had. There's an article which maybe, oh wow, now the lights are going to go again. Again, I apologize if you are photosensitive, but right now I'm just going to deal with it, live with it. Go listen to this on our podcast, because yeah, I'm going to be uploading this hopefully to Spotify. I'm just laughing because I swear on God's green earth, the moment I hit record, that motherfucking light started going apeshit. So yeah, it's been great. But yeah, anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah, no, cut a long story short, this week we had two films, F1 the movie with Brad Pitt, Megan 2.0, and I thought let's go over those two films with you guys, whether or not you should watch it. If you've seen it, I'd love to know your thoughts, and we'll kind of go from there. And I hope the more I get to do this, the more I get to learn, the more, I swear to fucking God, hopefully we'll get to do more of this, especially with San Diego Comic-Con coming out in less than a month. There is San Diego Comic-Con, and I am ecstatic. So I'm hoping this will come in to play a lot more without the technical difficulties of a light and everything else, because I've also realized the old, which you can, if you're watching this behind us, this is an old background. I need to change that background. So that's all bullshit. Obviously, there's going to be spoilers. If you don't want to know about these films, go elsewhere. If you don't give a shit, then keep watching, and we'll just kind of give you a brief overview. Quick gist. Obviously, you'll see up on the screen F1. It's meh. I would give it, from my personal take, if you know the channel, I would give this maybe 1, maybe 2 cups of tea out of 4 from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. It's just boring. It's predictable. It is. I've said this online through like Instagram, social media stuff. It is a 2.5-hour car commercial. That's all it is. It genuinely is a 2.5-hour car commercial. And I took some notes down on the good old phone here. So let me kind of read off some of that. I cannot remember shit to save my life. And I've had comments from people in the past. Good for you. But the bottom line is my memory is just not as good as it used to be. I am old. So I'm going to preach that a lot. Also, something else that I can't remember right now. But yeah, anyway, give you the cliff notes of F1 with Brad Pitt. You know, it's a race film. It's F1. I would have zero information to give you in relation to what F1 is all about. I don't know about it other than the fact that they're really cool looking cars. They go super fast. And apparently Las Vegas took it over recently, so you can buy tickets for it. I'm a big fan of Gordon Ramsay. He always goes to these things, and it looks pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie to you, it does look really cool to go and watch these things in person. But you can predict, I swear to God, if I'm ever stopping and pausing and you're listening to this, it's because of this fucking light. So just deal with it. And I'm broken record. I should deal with it, but it just is kind of annoying right now because it's ruining my train of thought. Anyway, F1, you can predict this film within 30 seconds of the opening sequence. You've got flashbacks to Brad Pitt, his character. He was obviously this up and coming race driver back in the 80s or 90s, whatever it was. And he now is old and trying to find his place in the racing world, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, I wonder if he'll get his redemption story. Of course he will, because back in the past, he got in this terrible accident, kind of like Richard Hammond. If you're a fan of Top Gear, if you're a fan of the Grand Tour, it is probably some of the greatest content that television has ever provided to the human society as a whole. But again, he has his crash, and you go now to 40 years later. He's an old man, still races, but he's trying to find his place. And ultimately, again, within a few moments of this movie opening, you already know that this man is going to get his redemption story. So the entire basis of the film, his name is called Hayes, or at least his character is Hayes, and he is joining up with the team. He was best friends with the James Bond bad guy. Speaking of which, actually, now that we're screen sharing, I can actually look up this dude. So hold on, where's the cast list? You think I know about IMDb, but okay, yeah. So you got Brad Pitt playing Hayes. His counterpart is Pierce. The Javier Bardem, who basically plays Ruben, they're like best buddies. So he, I guess, initiates Pitt's character to come join his F1 team because they're basically doing a terrible job. And if they're not successful during this season of F1 racing, they're going to lose out on everything, their sponsors, their money, and jump all the way to the end, you kind of find out that the owner of this company is actually setting them up for failure because if even I didn't really understand the story, and maybe some of y'all who've seen it can kind of clarify, the CEO of this F1 team is actually setting them up for failure because if they fail, he gets to be bought out by a board, like by all these board members, so he gets a shit ton of money. So he actually wants them to lose. But of course, Brad Pitt and Pierce have no idea about this, nor Ruben, his friend, so they want to be successful. And again, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the movie. Pierce and Hayes obviously have this beef, old guy, new guy. Coming from Apple, now I've got to be very careful here. For those of you that know me, you know I like receiving a paycheck. You can look up where I work. It's pretty obvious. It's the internet. It's not that hard to find. I'm pretty surprised with how Apple did this film because you've got Brad Pitt, you've got Pierce, who is played by, I'm looking on my screen, uh, is it Damson Idris? Probably saying that name wrong. But so yeah, you have these two characters. Obviously, Pierce was the head honcho of this F1 team. He was the head, the big dog. And of course, Brad Pitt's character comes in and instant beef because why is this old timer here? I should be number one, even though Pierce is like a beginner. He just started off his F1 career, but Hayes has been known through the racing community for decades. Cliff note version again, the whole movie goes throughout. There's 9 races in this F1 season, and slowly, because of Hayes, because of Pitt's character, he brings up Pierce. So eventually they learn to coexist together. Think the Jedis, think Star Wars. Brad Pitt is his mentor, Pierce is the Padawan, and of course they have to learn to work together so that they can be a better team. It really is obnoxiously cliche. The only thing I'll give this movie is a couple little different things, and we'll go back to finish off the rest of the story. Visually, it is pretty impressive. I read apparently a lot of these scenes, a lot of this footage, a lot of the stuff you see, that's Superman in a commercial. I don't know what the fuck that's all about, but a lot of the scenes, a lot of the footage was actually done. It was actually filmed during the season of F1. So, yes, I will give them credit. Visually, it's pretty amazing, and I would recommend if you're going to go see it in theaters, go and see it in IMAX because it's pretty remarkable. But it doesn't save 2.5 hours of sponsors, of car dealership shit, commercial stuff, whatever you want to call it, and just really lazy writing. The development of these characters is non-existent. With Pierce, all you know is he's just this new guy up and coming in the F1 world, and he sucks at racing. And that's again why I'm kind of pretty sure you can understand where I'm going with the fact that I'm very surprised that Apple made Pierce the rookie, the amateur, the guy that really didn't know what he was doing. Just go with me on that. And then, of course, you've got Brad Pitt, who is Brad Pitt, is going to, of course, get his redemption story. So it's boring. There's zero character development, and the dialogue is pitiful. Brad Pitt, I will give major credit to. He's an amazing actor. He has done amazing movies in the past, and he's given nothing here. He doesn't have any inspiration. He doesn't give a shit about what he does. He just kind of goes through life the way life is. The amount of I mean, even just the amount of car wrecks that happen in the beginning of this film, they just treat it like nothing. It's if like you just lost your, your candy bar or something like that. It's phenomenally crazy to me. There's a cat about to come into this room. Go away. Not right now. Not right now. Hold on a second, guys. I gotta do something real quick. Hold on a second. Nope. Nope. Okay. Let's get back to this. Apologies. There was a cat that decided it wanted to come and say hello, but I was not going to allow that cat to come and say hello. He's cute, I'm not gonna lie. But maybe one day I'll introduce him on this live stuff. But where was I? F1, boring as hell, dialogue zero, Brad Pitt, great actor, blah 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 blah. So we get to the end of the film, it's the final race, and you think to yourself, okay, Pierce, Brad Pitt, they finally start working together. You obviously come to find out in a little bit earlier in the film, Pierce got into this huge wreck where he's like set on fire. They blame Brad Pitt, comes to learn that it was actually Pierce's fault. Then, of course, Brad Pitt gets kicked off the team because of this. The CEO guy, which is you find out to be corrupt and only wants the money from the board, basically pulls Brad Pitt back into the team through some sort of illegal. He leaked images of the car, that the car had custom modifications that wasn't legally allowed or something like that. It's kind of convoluted at the same time. It's boring, but it's also very convoluted. So what I would just tell you is, if you've ever seen Days of, what is it, Thunder? Days of Thunder? Not Days of Thunder. The one that had what was the one with Tom Cruise? Hold on, let me look this up real quick. Tom Cruise NASCAR. Tom Cruise NASCAR movie. Yeah, Days of Thunder. Okay, if you've ever seen Days of Thunder, this is what F1 the movie is. It's Days of Thunder and it's complete ripoff. Just put Brad Pitt in Tom Cruise's place. It's the same fucking movie. And this is why I understand where the praise is coming from. It's supposedly very successful right now. It's getting a lot of money. It's getting a lot of praise. I just don't buy it. I just don't see it. It's boring. It's dull. There's characters I don't care about. And of course, we'll finish it up. And then we'll move on to the better of the two films, Megan 2.0, which I thought was fucking amazing. One of the best films I've ever seen. Throughout the entire film, you wouldn't have this movie without the usual suspects. And what are those usual suspects? Politics, agendas, the woke ideologies, all this stuff that just doesn't need to be in films anymore. It does not need to be in the industry anymore. Side note, for those of you that are not aware, or if you are aware, and if you're seeing online just getting destroyed, Marvel has just released Ironheart, and it is hysterical just how much this thing is getting destroyed, because they say it is the acolyte of the Marvel universe. That time has passed. The world is over the woke identity politics. We really, really are. I did a video on this. We talk about it all the time on this channel. So if you're not familiar with myself, just go back and watch some other stuff, or give me your 2 cents as well. Because in this film, obviously, it wouldn't be this film without the first female mechanic person thingamabob, whatever the heck title. And again, if I look at the cast lists, what was her name? What was her name? What was her name? What was her name? She plays. Is it this gal, Callie Cook? No, she is one of the pit crew people. Oh my god, what's her name? She's not even in the list. That's really okay. Here we go. Kate. Yeah, here. Okay, this chick, Carrie Condon, if I'm saying that right. But so she plays like the first female F1 designer, mechanic, something around there that even I don't understand in this F1 world. Bibbity bobbity boop. And you just kind of look at it and you just kind of like, you put your hands on your head and you start rubbing your forehead and you go, do we really have to go here? Do we really have to go here? You know, I was actually pretty shocked as well in the reverse, going back a little bit. And I know if you know me and you know this channel, we bounce on at least 30 different topics, and then we eventually come back to finish it up. But there's actually another gal who is on the pit crew, who is terrible, which again, it's almost like they throw this woke politics down your throat, but at the same time, they don't throw this politics down your throat. So it's just confusing. But when it does happen, so again, with this Carrie, she plays Kate, which of course is the love interest, and you're thinking, oh, they're never going to fall in love and fuck each other's brains out. Of course they're going to fall in love, and of course they're going to fuck each other's brains out. But that's just how it is because it's so fucking predictable. So again, it's just that like I have no ill will. I want to be very, very clear here. I have no ill will in regards to who she is, whether real life or fiction character on this F1 movie. I have no issue with the fact that she is the first female character thingamabobber, whatever you call the title that she was in this. My issue is it just is again, it's such it's forced so much into your screen, into your focus of the story, that you ruin anything that you've had from the perspective of the movie as a whole, as a F1 racing movie starring Brad fucking Pitt. Nobody cares about anybody else except the fact that this is an F1 film and it's got Brad Pitt in it. Don't lie to yourself. This is exactly why you're going to watch this film, because of Brad Pitt and because of F1 racing. Everything else does not matter. So when you throw the usual suspects into a film, and I get very passionate about stuff like this, it ruins it. It absolutely ruins it. So just had to get off that off my chest for a second, because ultimately the last race out of the 9, they're moving up the spots. This team, the F1 team, is moving up the spots, and the two are racing, Pierce and Hayes. They're back on the same page in relation to being the good guy's mentor, Padawan, and Pierce gets into an accident on the final lap. So, oh my God, will Hayes do it? Will Brad Pitt's character win the race and save the company? Because if they don't win in first place, the company's dead. Of course he fucking wins. Of course he fucking wins. Even though Brad Pitt has literally totaled 3 cars throughout this entire series, one on purpose, I might add, just because he got really angry and pissed off at shit that I can't even remember. Of course he's going to win the last race. And again, it's just, you've spent 2.5 hours of trying to convince me to add the extended warranty to my car. You just think to yourself, I already knew this. I knew this from the opening few seconds of this film starting. So, again, to wrap up F1, is it a good film? Sure. Is it something that I would waste $25 to go see in IMAX? Fuck that. Did I waste money to go see it? No, because I'm not that person. I went to the regular showing because I'm cheap, but it is something I would say, if you are going to go see it in IMAX, or spend that $25 and just buy it, because I didn't even realize now, looking at some of these theater prices, Holy shit, $25, $30 just for a movie ticket. You realize when these movies come out on digital, they're only $19.99, right? Like it flabbergasts me. Maybe again, just my old age or whatever you want to call it, but holy shit, movies are expensive now. So anyway, like I said, it's predictable as fuck. You already know the story. It's a complete ripoff of Tom Cruise Thunder in Paradise. No, that was the Hulk Hogan one. Brad Pitt is completely underwhelming, and you will give absolutely zero shits about the rest of the story. Visually, sure, I'll give it to you, albeit there is still CGI in this film. It's a movie I would wait for streaming because odds are you probably have a better television at home and you probably have a better sound system at home. So if it was me, personally, let's give it a week, maybe two. I'll even give you 3 weeks. And we all know this movie's probably going to be on streaming services. And that's that. I will shut up on F1 because otherwise I'll just get verbal diarrhea. And if you know this channel, we do tend to repeat a lot. So I'll shut up about that. But anyway, Dr. Pepper time. Let's see if I can not spill this. Okay. So yeah, I'm assuming this thing is still streaming okay, as far as I can tell. So I appreciate those that are watching, those that are listening. If you are watching, listening, I would super appreciate it, which of course we do it through everything in the world today. Follow me on Rumble. This is going to be the spot where we're going to do a lot of this stuff now. I am definitely going to start ditching YouTube. I'm just kind of over it. I'm really over the copyright shit. I'm over the politics. I'm over the restrictions. I'm over the fact that if you swear, your algorithm shit goes to hell. So Rumble is going to be where we're going to do this. And I think I'm going to focus a lot more attention now because, especially like I said in the beginning of this video, we've got Comic-Con coming out. It's going to be a lot easier to tell you guys what we're doing and what we're seeing versus the videos that I will post during that time. So follow us here. If you'd like to subscribe to us on YouTube, give us the likes, the follows, let me know your thoughts. I would love to know how can we change things, make things better. I appreciate you for bearing with all my technical shit. Like though, we're going to try, I have to give huge appreciation. There's a gentleman that has been watching this channel on Rumble for quite a while. He always comments on my videos. We actually started communicating to one another, and I give him so much credit because he has really good word choice. He has very good vocabulary in talking about these things. So we're going to get him a camera. We're going to start doing some dual video thing like they do on other channels, and hopefully we can start building the community that I've been talking about for years. I've been talking about years to get this together, and we'd love other input. If you want to join the conversation, we are more than happy to have you. And all we ask is understandable that we are who we are. We're old. We don't know a lot about this shit, so you're gonna have to bear with us. But ultimately, it should be fun. It'll be great discussions, and maybe you'll watch, join the party, conversation, whatever the fuck you young people say nowadays, or something. By the way, like I said, Dr. Pepper is not a sponsor, but my God, this stuff is just like God's blood or something. Right. Let's move on to my favorite film that just came out, Megan 2.0. Now, let's get it. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I gotta share this screen. The only reason I'm sharing this screen is because I figured if you don't want to listen to me, you can always just look at the screen and watch the trailer that continuously plays in the background and fucking whatever. But so Megan 2.0. If you watched the first film, it was good. It wasn't great. And put it simply, it's an evil doll. It's an AI robot that basically murders a shit ton of people. This second sequel film thingamabob, whatever you want to call it, is, and I swear on my mother's life, Megan 2.0 has got to be one of the greatest films I have ever seen in the most tragic way possible. Let me be very, very clear. This movie is absolute dog shit. I would not recommend this film to anybody unless you understand that this is going to be absolute dog shit. But then you might ask yourself, well, why is it so amazing? They took the first film and they times it by 100 in relation to the action, in relation to the story, in relation to the technology, in relation to the character Megan. They expanded on this universe, I guess, this trilogy, whatever. I don't really know what you want to call this journey, I guess, but it is absolutely incredible. And if you're ever a fan, so my heritage, I'm a British, British citizen. I have English heritage, blah 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 blah. There was an old school show, and actually, now that I know what I'm doing, let me actually show you guys. Let me see if I can do this. It was called Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds Are Go. Let me see if I can pull this up. Now, there was a newer series, but of course, then you had the classic series, which is basically what I grew up. Let me see if I can pull up some images here. I guess this will do. Let me see if I can share this. Okay. Okay. So if you guys can see, yeah, basically this is I'm trying to, okay, look at these. No, other way. There you go. This is, now that you've added more characters to this Megan story, it really is just Thunderbirds Are Go, but with violent horror and with violent murder, AI murdering robots. And it's fucking amazing. It really, really is absolutely incredible. And I took some notes too, because again, my brain can't remember shit to save my life. But I just wanted to quickly, because oh yeah, the quick cliff notes of the actual movie itself. Excuse me. So let me go back to this real quick. If you remember in the first film, by the way, I just saw that on the trailer, there is a dance sequence. So a little bit of a spoiler there. If you enjoyed the dance sequence from the first film, you are going to enjoy the dance sequence on the second film. And actually, just to show you guys, see if we can find it. Megan film dance scene. $20 says I get a copyright. Yeah.
Hilton is bringing you more new ways to stay than ever before. With all new places,
I'm not sure if you
there's
guys can
all
hear
new
this audio over the
experiences
top,
to
but
enjoy.
I'm pretty confident you can.
Hilton for the stay.
Yeah. All right. Is this sharing? Yes, it is. Okay. So yeah, in this film, she does this really creepy ass dance sequence. This is an AI robot, by the way, if you're not familiar with Megan series. So she's basically looking for things to find to basically murder people with. And that's the end of it. So there is another similar dance sequence in this film, and it is just as good, if not better. But give you the Cliff Notes version of Megan 2.0. The last movie, again, if you're not familiar, you have Megan the robot, who is built by Auntie, which is that gal in the orange right up there in the trailer. So Aunt builds this AI robot called Megan to basically be the friend of the kid. You'll know the kid if you've seen it in the trailer or if you watched the movie. And the reason she made Megan, because the kid's parents died, so Aunt had to take over the kid and thus was working a lot and just wanted to have a friend for the kids. So Megan was created. The algorithm that was created with Megan, though, is only take care of the kid. Anybody else, you do what you got to do. And with AI, we'll get into the whole AI spiel in a second. Sometimes it means to save the kiddo, you're going to have to murder people, and that's what happens. So Megan murders a lot of people, and that's it, the end of the film. Second movie picks up, and it just expands 100 times on that first film, except this time it's one of those where the government has officially built a secondary AI robot to kind of not necessarily counter Megan, but just to kind of build their own AI robot. Of course, and again, predictability, this robot becomes sentient and wants to take over the world by creating like an AI army like of robots. So she has to get this motherboard in this secret super facility. It's a combination of Thunderbirds Are Go, it's a combination of Mission Impossible, it's a combination of Saw, it's a combination of a thousand different epic movies all put into one. But the bottom line of what all it comes down to is you have two AI robots. One of them, the government one that was created, I call it the T-1000, and then you've got Megan. So there's obviously some fight sequences between the two that are just absolutely incredible. There's like this race sequence where you have what was that anime with the race cars? Oh my god, I have to look that up because it's gonna bother me. Hold on. Anime racing. I know there was it's like the guy in the white car racing movie. It's gonna bug me if I don't know it. Cartoon, maybe. God bless the internet. Let's see. Okay, hold on a second. Do, 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 do. I hope you like my music. See, that's the stuff I need to start finding out how to do on this with the live stuff, is putting in like music overlays and whatnot. Speed Racer. Yes. Okay. So yeah, there's a huge epic Speed Racer-esque type scene in this film as well that is just like, it's incredible. It really, really is. And I have to give so much credit to the way they film this film, because again, something like this, you would think, when it comes to the CGI, when it comes to the way that they film it, it's either going to make it or it's going to break it. And they really did. I think they only had a very small budget in the first film. This film is superiorly much larger in a budget, and you can definitely tell they put that money to good use. Not only from the fact of Megan herself, but just in some of these sequences that they create. As I mentioned, a lot of this revolves around AI, and of course, think of the Apple Vision Pro. A lot of that is what's kind of, I guess, discussed in this film, is portrayed in the film, because that's how, number one, these AI robots get around. But they also dive into the fact that now human beings are actually getting implants. And I think why I get so excited and so pumped about this film is because, number one, it is showing you kind of a future of technology, because I think that is really how we're going to go. You think of the Apple Vision Pro with the, huge lenses that they have right now. It's only going to get smaller, and it's only going to go to a point where in this film right now, they just drill a little microchip into your little forehead here, and you actually have an Apple Vision Pro just literally drilled into your head. So it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty incredible. And there is obviously a negative side to that. We've talked about it here, and I'll talk a little bit about it at the end of this film. But again, just going back to the main story. So you have government builds a robot goes rogue. Obviously, government goes to Auntie. Auntie has stopped developing AI robots because they think, robots with too much power is, the result is Megan. You have robots that start killing people. And ultimately, you have this government robot that went rogue. It was the result of it. That's why she kind of backed away from this whole technology robot type stuff thing. Again, words don't really work here. It's me. If you know this channel, it's just what we do. So the government goes to Auntie to basically tell her, we found these plans, like these Megan plans, with this rogue military government robot thing, the T-1000, as I call it. And then it just goes from there. She, of course, is accused of a crime she didn't commit. So she goes rogue. Auntie goes rogue to try and figure out why she's the one being blamed for this. And this is where Megan comes into it, because at the end of the first film, obviously, you have the data has been deleted, that Megan has been deleted, but of course not. It's a digital world that we live in. Even to this day, the realism factor, this is where I give credit even just to this Megan series, is because they put so much effort into the fact that this stuff is reality. This isn't just humor and comedy and gore and murder. No, this is reality. So of course, Megan hasn't been deleted. She's real, and she's been existing in the netherworld for a couple years now. So she presents herself to Auntie to basically say, I can help you stop this. I can help you regain your innocence, and I can help you stop this robot. But in return, I want to be able to be, to come back. I want to be able to do my own thing again. So they work out a deal. And this is where I think this film goes a little bit more towards comedy versus horror. The first film was pretty graphic. It wasn't anything like, oh my God, I can't believe this is, they're letting kids watch this. No, it was okay. This is nothing compared to Saw. But with this second film, there's hardly really any gore. There's really hardly any murder. It's still there, but this movie really should be changed to horror to comedy. It's just fucking hilarious, from the one-liners that Megan does to, just some of the scenes that you see, like again, the two robots that are going at each other at an AI convention. It's fucking hilarious, but also badass at the same time. So again, you're gonna have to forgive me if I'm bouncing off into 30 different places. And hold on. So the way that Megan comes back in Megan 2.0, she obviously says, I need a body. So Auntie's like, oh, fuck that. I'm not going to give you a body ever again, because the moment I give you a body, you're going to start murdering people. And it's hilarious because you may have seen it in the trailer. They give Megan this little like amiibo type body thing, and it's just again those one-liners from Megan where she's like, "Are you fucking serious? This is what you're doing?" And Auntie is basically saying, "Until I can trust you again, this is what you get." So they go through, they're trying to find like these little secret documents about the government hiding this T1000 robot. And, the T1000 robot is murdering other people to try and get to the motherboard where this government agency is, where they're holding the motherboard, which can create all this AI robot, military, blah, blah, blah stuff. It's a very convoluted story, by the way. And this is, again, why I'm going off in 30 different directions. But we come back to, okay, now it's time for Auntie to build the real body for Megan. And she does. And of course, she builds a more adult, teenager type Megan. It is really badass. And that's where this movie turns from your standard murder thriller cover up to your Star Trek, Star Wars, Mission Impossible trying to save the world. Megan gets put in these outfits that are like something from, some sci-fi Star Trek uniform type stuff. And again, I can't really put the words together, but you know what I mean, where instead of just average day clothes, she's literally like skydiving off of a mountain just to get into this government facility, and she's wearing this like sleek silk, think of Catwoman in Batman Returns. It's so fucking badass. Not in that way, by the way, because I know where some of your brains are going on that, but just in a way of like, it's so over the top and so ridiculous, but it's so incredible at the same time that you're just watching this going, please give me more. Give me more, because of just how epic this is. So you get to the end of the film. Of course, both not convolute, both can, they get to this military secret underground lair where where the motherboard is that creates all the AI robot shit, blah, blah, blah. And you come to learn, oh my God, a betrayal. So Auntie was working with this one dude who was like trying to help her to stop technology from getting too much power. Oh my God, turns out he's the bad guy. I could never have seen that coming. And if we look at, where was it? If we go to the cast list, I'm trying to remember who it was. Yeah, this guy, the guy who plays Cole, Brian Jordan Alvarez. So like him and Allison Williams, Gemma, they're like best buds. They're the ones. And if I ever say the kiddo is the one that's the Violet McGraw, Katie. Is it Katie? Yes, Katie. But anyway, yeah. So Gemma and Cole are obviously workers. They were together in the original film, or not? Yeah, they were in the original film, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. He turns out to be the bad guy because he wants he was the one that actually created the military robot that went rogue, that wanted him, like he wanted the robot, the T1000, to get the motherboard so that they could create this army of AI soldiers that would rule the world. Ultimately, they don't, because there's this one final showdown between Megan and the T1000, but not before they accuse Megan of betraying Auntie. So thus, Megan gets just destroyed and like piled on. And you may again, I think there's a clip online you can watch the trailer where like Megan is just fucked up, hairs everywhere, plastic, because she's made of fucking plastic. At least her face is. But is she really dead? Of course she's not dead. She's living the dream. She's in the nether digital world. So they literally force Gemma, Auntie, they actually literally force an implant into her brain. And that's where Megan comes back. They start talking to each other inside of her brain. They're like, hey, by the way, I'm not dead. Oh my God, that's crazy. What can we do? Don't worry, I'll handle it. And obviously, her body, Megan's body, even though it's been destroyed, of course it's not fucking destroyed. She regains her power somehow because, of course, that's the fucking how they do it. But in that whole interim, the T-1000 government rogue AI robot was able to get hold of this motherboard chip thing and gains all the superpowers of everything known to man and turns into this like crazy Superman-esque like robot with AI capabilities. And the only way that it's stopped is when Auntie Gemma made Megan 2.0, she obviously put in a kill switch. So it's kind of a beautiful thing. And I know this sounds so stupid from a Megan film, but like Megan looks to the kid and looks to the aunt, and they kind of look at each other and go, I can do this, but you have to do the unthinkable. Basically, you have to push the kill switch. So Megan kind of like manipulates the T-1000, who now has all the superpowers, into believing that she's now submissive, I guess, to the robot. So she's taking a knee in front of her. And then she just wraps around this T-1000 robot. And of course, Auntie, the tears coming down the face, hits the button. It's like an EMP burst, if the terminology is correct. And of course, the robot gets destroyed along with Megan 2.0. But again, going back to what we talked about before, is Megan really destroyed? Of course not. Of course not. But this is where, at the end of it all, this is where I give so much credit to this film, Megan 2.0, because at the end of the film, Gemma, Auntie, is actually talking to the government, Congress, in relation to this AI robot, in terms of AI itself, technology. And they're actually pushing a really good message. They're pushing this message that technology needs to be controlled. It needs to have restrictions. It needs to be, there's words that I can't think of right now. But what it comes down to is we cannot, as human beings, and I've talked about this too many, many times, especially over these past few reviews on this channel we've done, because artificial intelligence is the future. It is the way things are going. And quite frankly, it scares the shit out of me. But I love the fact that this messaging on this film was, we cannot give it too much power, because if we give it too much power, it is ultimately going to use that power for evil. It's going to nuke us. It's going to kill us all. I don't know if I'd go to that extreme yet, but again, you kind of know where I'm going with this. And I'm like, this is actually messaging from a fucking horror film to basically warn society that, albeit this is a parody, comedy, horror, doll AI film, this also could really happen. If you make, I mean, you've seen them online. You've probably seen those clips of those like dogs, the robots that they take your Amazon packages to your house and shit. I saw a video today online about Tesla delivering its first automotive, like completely automotive, automated, whatever the fuck the word is, autonomous. Its first Tesla, from the moment it was built on the line, it literally drove itself to its new owner. It's like, that shit is mind blowing. Now, of course, make it a robot, make it a Terminator, make it an Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we are all fucked. So, again, it just is so much credit to this film in relation to the story, the effects, everything in between. But the best, best piece, and I'll wrap this review up, and we'll finish up this first live attempt here at Spot of Nerd. So you think to yourself, oh, Megan has been destroyed. Of course not. How else would they make a third film if they didn't have Megan? So Auntie's working on her computer. She's just typing up like she's writing a book or something like that. And wouldn't you know it, out in the little corner, let's see if I can do it on mine. In the little corner there, guess what pops up? A little fucking paperclip. A little you got if you're old enough to remember, you know, on a Windows PC, hey, it looks like you're trying to write a resume. Do you need some help with that? And of course, the little paperclip turns into an image of like a cartoon Megan and says, "Hey, you haven't forgot about me," and blah 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 blah, and it rolls the credits. And I fucking love that shit. I fucking love every ounce of that shit because it is so perfect to end this film on, not only from the nostalgia piece, but from the Blippy, because I think that was that his name, Blippy, the little paperclip, and it just leads into potentially a third film, which hopefully they do, because again, I fucking love every ounce of this, and in comparison to F1 and this would be the movie I would tell you to go see. I shit you not, people. I would actually. This is scary to say, but if you know me and you know the channel, I would give this 4 cups of tea. 4 out of 4 from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. It is that good, but only and only if you have to go into it knowing that this movie is a pile of shit. It is a pile of shit, and that's the only reason I'm giving it 4 out of 4. Because unless you go into it with that, don't bother. Do not bother. But go check it out. If there's a movie to watch, Megan 2.0, hands down over F1 the movie. So that's that. Those are the 2 movies. I hope you guys, gals, have enjoyed watching this live review. I've had some fun. I know I have verbal diarrhea. Sometimes I'll get my facts in about 30 different directions, but it's been a blast. I appreciate those because I can actually see there's been a few people watching. Huge, huge appreciation to everybody that has made it this far, cared, blah, 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 blah. And if you don't like this stuff, then great. You can go find another 10,000 other channels just like this. But super appreciate it. Stay tuned because this week we have got Jurassic World Rebirth, which I'm actually really excited for too, because again, it's like the 18th Jurassic Park, and let's be honest, these films are trash, but they're trash in the best way possible. It's these movies are going to be terrible, but you know they're going to be amazing just in regard to the fact that it's fucking dinosaurs. So I cannot wait for that. And then the following week we have Superman, which everybody's saying right now, Superman and the Fantastic Four that come out later in this month, July rather, these are the 2 movies that are going to define the future of comic book films. I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that another time, because I know I've been kind of giving you a little bit of verbal diarrhea here. I don't know. I personally think the comic book live action films are dead to me. They're already dead, if you ask me. I don't know if it's just a storytelling. I don't know if it's just fatigue, whatever it is, but I really do think the live action comic book films are just dead. They really, really are. And quite frankly, I would rather go wait for the streaming movies, but at the same time, we watch them at the theaters just so we can give you guys these reviews. At this, it's one of those things. Will these 2 movies reignite the future of comic book films? I don't know. What I'm hearing is probably not, because Superman is already getting some pretty negative reviews, but at the same time positive. So it's probably going to be one of those split films. Same with Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four is going to bomb. Of course, these movies are going to do amazing their opening weekends. After that, I think they're going to die off. And I think it's just another repeat, rinse, repeat, recycle of our typical cliche comic book films that everybody is just, quite frankly, tired of. It's not because of the story. It's not because of the everything else. It's just because nobody knows how to write good scripts, good stories, good characters anymore. We have the content in the comic books. For hundreds of years, we've had the most amazing stories. And for some reason, we just decide not to make this a reality. We really don't. So much, in fact, that I think it was Paramount actually have gone back to Michael fucking Bay, and said, "Hey, would you mind doing another Transformers film for us?" That's how desperate these people have become. So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will, but so be it. Anyway, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, thank you for putting up with the technical difficulties, sound issues, whatever it might be. I love you guys so, so much. if you've enjoyed it, again, throw those likes, comments, the whole 9 yards. And I will see you guys hopefully this week, maybe doing this again when we do and watch Jurassic Park Rebirth, Jurassic World Rebirth, because I've had fun. And this is a lot easier to me than editing a shit ton of video that I don't want to edit, because this is far easier. So enough verbal diarrhea. I will catch you guys in the next video. Laters, y'all.